Hello, interns. Welcome to week 5 of your internship course. By now, hopefully, you are feeling settled into your internship. You're getting some great learning opportunities, and you're starting to work on your internship report. So, we're going to be talking a little bit about interview skills this week, and your assignment due this week is a interview self-reflection. So, you can reflect a little bit on your interview skills and prepare for that next interview that you have. Next week, we're going to talk about finding a fulfilling career in horticulture and what that looks like, some of the career opportunities that are out there, and we will go from there. As a note, because this is a summer course and you're out there working in the heat, some reminders. Cover up whenever you can. So that looks like hats, it looks like long sleeves that are breathable, pants that are breathable as well, all of that stuff. You will thank yourself later for covering up and protecting your skin. You also need to be drinking water before work, during work, and after work. Please, please, please stay hydrated. Drink electrolytes if you need to. Remember to eat during the day, even if it's hot, just a little bit of food here and there, things that you can get down quickly are great. And then if you're at work and you are able to stand in the shade, stand in the shade. So if you are standing around listening to your boss or listening to somebody in a group of people and you see shade, you need to be in the shade, right? So please take care of yourself, take care of people around you. Pay attention to signs and symptoms of heat illness, all of that stuff. Look out for yourself, look out for others, and you'll have a great time. All right, so I'm going to pop in here and share my screen, and we will talk about interviews here in a moment. Some reminders. Again, start working on your internship report. Don't wait until week 7 or 8. Make a plan to communicate ask some questions of your site supervisor sooner rather than later, so that you can go through those questions together and start to collect some of that information. At least start having that conversation about when you guys are going to sit down and go through it together. Check-in number 5 is due this Sunday, and your assignment this week is an interview self-reflection, where you're going to go through and evaluate some of your own strengths and weaknesses in an interview setting, and then also preemptively write some responses to some very common interview questions and get those ready to go for the next time you do an interview. All right, so best practices for interviewing for a job. This is where I would like you to pause the video, and you're going to come up with 5 best practices that you think people should do uh, either before, during, or after an interview. So pause the video, 5 questions, and then come back. All right, hopefully you have come up with your 5 best practices here, and you can compare those to some of the practices that I'm going to share with you now. This is absolutely not an exhaustive list. This is a kind of an aggregate of these best practice tips from multiple different universities and websites that I will share with you now that I think are really important. So you may have some ones that aren't even listed here. So let's talk about it. Before the interview, you need to be doing your homework. That means looking into the company. What services do they provide? What's their mission if they have a mission statement? How is their company structured? Try to find out as much as you can about the company ahead of time. So first of all, you know what you're rolling up to on the day of the interview. So you have a sense of who they are, what they do, and that you've taken the time to do all of that. You'll want to take some notes potentially. So bring a note book, you know, that you're doing your homework in. Bring that notebook along with you. It's always a good idea to bring a notepad and a pen or something like that to an interview. You can also do some homework by preparing some questions to ask the interviewers. You don't have to have a list of 100 questions. That's too many. I would even say 10 is too many. but like 2 to 3 questions really can impress an interviewer. Questions like, tell me about the person who was in this position before, like what made them successful in the job. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're looking for in a candidate? Which will tell you a little bit if you match with the company as well. Because if you think about this, yes, you're in the hot seat, you're being interviewed, but this is your opportunity to get a feel for that company as well, to feel if you fit their working style, if you think you would be successful at that company, if it's the kind of job that you actually want to do. It's your opportunity to ask a few questions and find out just a little bit more about the job. These should be gentle questions. They shouldn't be like, tell me about your company culture, and every bad thing that's ever happened at your company. Like, don't come in like guns blazing by any means. Um, but you could say something like, talk to me a little bit more about how you set the tone at your company, and do you guys have values? Is that something you've looked into? Like, tell me a little bit more about that. Could be something that you ask. If you want to look up other questions, there are lots of really great resources online about, the top 20 questions that you should ask, and pick a couple of those, um, and have those in your back pocket. It's always good to have prepared a couple of questions. It looks good. Um, what also looks good is dressing professionally. In the horticulture industry, that can mean a lot of different things. If you're concerned about what that might mean, you can ask. You can ask them, "Hey, I'm getting ready for my interview. Um, uh, is this business casual? Like, what do you expect your candidates to wear?" They might be able to provide you some guidance there. I would say if it's a higher level position, so you're looking at becoming a manager, or this is with a much larger company that may have kind of like a corporate office and things like that, go for business casual, which is like maybe it's a blazer, maybe it's just a nice button up that's clean, with some clean pants or slacks or something like that. In a lot of other scenarios in the horticulture industry, a flannel shirt is fine. A t-shirt that is like clean, really, no stains, no holes, all that good stuff. With little to no text, unless it's maybe like a horticulture brand or something like that. Um, just, dress professionally. You could look, if you're trying to figure out what they wear, maybe they have an Instagram or a social media page that you can go and look and see what do their workers actually wear, and you could sort of try to dress similar to that if you um, were trying to figure out what to wear. For horticulture, show that you have closed-toed shoes. Don't show up in sandals. Show them that you're ready to work in the industry and that you have your good horticulture shoes. If you have questions about what those are, or any recommendations, or any would like any recommendations for that sort of thing, let me know. Arrive 10 to 15 minutes early. Do not be late, and be early. Um, it's perfectly fine to arrive as much as 15 minutes early. More than that is a little bit too much, because then they're going to have to probably figure out what to do while you're sitting there waiting for your interview. Um, Arrive 10 to 15 minutes early. Do your best to be on time. And if you need some tools around that, please let me know. Uh, Bring 2 to 3 copies of your resume. So they may already have some copies. It looks great if you have some copies with you. At the very least, have one for yourself that you can reference as you go along. You can also bring, if you wrote a cover letter, you can bring that too. If you have references on a separate sheet of paper, you could bring that as well. Anything else that you want to bring that you think is important to share, that's great. I would refrain from bringing anything like too much extra, so you don't need to bring like your entire plant portfolio, or unless they ask for it, or like artwork or anything like that. Like just stick to resume, cover letter, things that would have gone in your initial application packet, and that's just fine. During the interview, start by thanking them for their time and shaking their hand. Look them in the eye, all of that good stuff. And if you're somebody who's like super intimidated by shaking somebody in the eye and or shaking somebody in the eye, looking somebody in the eye. Yeah, you should be intimidated by shaking somebody in the eye. By looking them in the eye and shaking their hand. Just practice. Get together with a friend, your current coworkers, your family. Um, just practice, practice, practice makes perfect. It will get easier as you do it again and again. During the interview, it's okay to breathe. It's perfectly fine. Make sure to remind yourself to breathe. It puts the other person at ease as well as you at ease to just remember to take a breath every once in a while. And if you need to write that down at the top of your notepad as you're going through, do that, right? Write down breathe so that you remember to hold your breath. Um, with that, Uh, if you need time to consider how you might respond to a question, totally fine to ask them for a little bit of time, especially on questions that are like, tell me about a time when you da 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 da. Tell me about a time when you solved a conflict in the workplace. If you need time to think about that, then say, hey, that's a great question. Can I have a moment to think about that for a second? Great. And so you think about that, maybe you write some notes down, and then you say, okay, I'm ready. And then tell them what it is that you did. It's perfectly fine. It shows confidence. Um, and you'll ultimately give a better question or give a better answer if you ask for a little bit of time to consider it. Also, during the interview, answer the questions professionally. That looks like a couple of things. It looks like being specific. So try to give them specific details. You can say, when I was at uh, this company, this is how I handled that kind of situation. Or there was a time when I had a customer come in and she was extremely upset, and this is how I addressed her concerns and helped to calm her down. I went to my manager, I did this and this and this. Be specific about specific moments that you can think about in your career. Or if this is your first job, think about specific moments in your classes. It could be like a volunteer experience. Could be a moment that like you had a breakthrough with a fellow student and talk to them about something that was important to you. Whatever it is that can show that whatever's getting at the question that they asked. Try to have a specific example that you can pull on rather than say something that's like really general and or hypothetical. It's always good to have specific answers. Another aspect of answering question professionally is to um, uh, avoid casting others in a negative light. It will ultimately look negative uh, on you. It'll ultimately make you look like uh, you are not empathetic or casting judgment on others, that sort of thing. Regardless of what the situation is, you want to avoid putting others down. That includes former bosses, other students, your instructors, like whoever it is. You wanna just again stick to the high road. And even if you're talking about an example in which you think you were treated unfairly, um, tread lightly when you're discussing um you know your feelings in that situation because the last thing you want to do is give the impression that you're difficult to work with and that the employer sees a bunch of red flags in your answer that really aren't there. So avoid putting others down. Try to give everybody grace in all of your answers, no matter what the situation was. Uh, answer professionally, stick to the subject. So don't wander off and start talking about something completely different. Focus and try to answer the question at hand. And you can even ask at the end of your answer. If you feel like you're not sure whether or not you answered their question, ask. Say, hey, did that get at what you were asking in that question? I want to make sure that I'm addressing what you asked. And finally, end on a positive note. That looks like uh, being enthusiastic about the position, saying, hey, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really excited about this position. I'm excited about your company. I'm excited about what you're doing here. And then if they don't already tell you what the next steps are, ask. So what are the next steps in this process? And they'll tell you, oh, we're finishing up interviews on X date. We'll get back to you by then. In some cases, they might say, if you don't hear anything from us, that means that you weren't selected for the position. In that case, we'll talk about what to do there after the interview. But end on a positive note and make sure you know what the next steps are so that you're not waiting around trying to figure out, did I get selected? Did I not get selected? What's happening? Make sure that you have that information when you're leaving. And then, of course, start how you finish. Thank them for the invitation and smile and shake their hand. After the interview, the main thing you need to do is email them to say thank you. That could be later that day. That's perfectly fine. It could be the day after, it could be 2 days after. I would try to stick within that 24-hour window so that they know that you're still thinking about it, that your name is at the top of their inbox. And that if you've said that you're going to do anything else, like, oh, I'll forward you my references or like whatever it is, make sure that you do that. Follow through with anything that they asked at the end of the interview. Um, if they said that they were going to get back to you by a certain date, give them a little bit of a grace window if you don't hear from them. People are busy. Don't take it personally. It is just the way of the world. Everyone's got a million things going on. So give them, a 48-hour grace period window, if you can. And then follow up and say, hey, just checking in about this, about the interview that I did on X date. I applied for this job. Just wondering where the process is at. Perfectly fine to ask if they have kind of exceeded that window that they gave you initially that they said that they were going to get back to you by. Um, that's all I could think of as far as interview skills. Breathe, smile, look them in the eye, and you're going to do great. So, look at your interview self-reflection worksheet. Go through that. It'll ask some questions about what you feel comfortable as far as interviewing goes, what you're feeling really uncomfortable about, and how to practice on those things. And then you'll answer some common interview questions and give some kind of responses there so that the next time that you need to do an interview, you've already got that stuff all ready to go. So you'll have that information at your fingertips. All right, let me know if you have any questions or if you have other best practices that we didn't talk about today. Please send those to me and I will share them with the rest of the class so that we can have a little bit of a discussion around and you can get to see some other responses from other students about best interview practices.